What up, what up, what up? Football fans all over the world. It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. And with my guy, the super dope co-host, Adam Costas. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for that real deal NFC East. Right there. Punch that intro. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. I'm Mac the Giants fan, here with my super dope co-host, Adam Costas. How you doing today, Adam?
I am good. We're back at it again. Another week in the books. Loving the fact that we can talk about it.
Yeah, another week in the books. Another miserable week in the books, man, for the New York Giants fans. But let's talk about them in a little bit. Let's get to it, man. Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys Monday night. Las Vegas Raiders. And Cowboys came back to life a little bit, man. Started the game off without Pickens or CeeDee Lamb. Had a little issue with their internal issue with the team. They got suspended for the first drive. And then all they proceeded to do was enter the game and wreck the game for the Las Vegas Raiders. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's funny because it's like they were asleep at the wheel the first drive, even though they got a field goal. Right? The Raiders go down and get another field goal. Then they put him in the game, and it was like bing, 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 bing. They just could not stop scoring. They could not stop. Dak Prescott looked like he was healthy from the bye week. They looked like the defense looked good. Those two guys, I mean, first off, let me say this. I don't know if you guys remember back when I was doing more videos and doing draft stuff. I said there was a gentleman out of Georgia who had some troubles off the field who was going to land possibly in the second round. That's what I said, right? And I bagged the table for this guy. And what did we do? We picked a 5'8" midget who can't get out of his own way. Sorry for all you small people out there. And that man is George Pickens. And he is now dominating with the Cowboys. 954 yards he has on the season. He's going to break 1,000 yards easily. He's probably going to have closer to probably 1,300 yards at the rate he's going right now. He is having a monster year. A guy who got picked in the second round trade that most people were much maligned. Oh, Pittsburgh must know what they're doing. They're getting rid of George Pickens. Oh, my God, they must know what they're doing. Pittsburgh, well run. Guess what? Pittsburgh brought in DK Metcalf because they didn't like George Pickens and his attitude, and they didn't want to pay him because of what he was doing on that team in Poughton. So they said, you know what, Georgie? Go over here. We're going to get a draft pick for you. We're going to go sign DK Metcalf. And that's what they did. And how's that working out? Metcalf's doing all right, but imagine if they had Metcalf, Lockett, and Pickens. I mean, look where they would be. But George Pickens is a dude. He is a guy. We would not need Malik Neighbors. We drafted. No, what did we do? We didn't draft him. Why? So he can put up numbers like this? I mean, the guy's having an all-world year. An all-world year. I know it's a contract year, but if the Dallas Cowboys let that guy walk out the building, I'm backing the Brinks truck up for him. Okay? I'm saying, you know what? Malik Neighbors and George Pickens, we can do this together. Because that guy is playing out of his mind. CeeDee Lamb, I think he's a little, George Pickens is having such a good season that CeeDee Lamb doesn't need to do as much. So you tend to forget about him. And then what happens? He makes a big catch here, makes a big catch there, and then boom. The run game looks great with Javonte Williams. I love that kid. He's a hard-nosed runner. He doesn't break a lot of runs, but he does wear down a defense. That's exactly what he did with the Las Vegas Raiders. And, let's just talk about how Dak was doing well and dialing all this up. I mean, Dak Prescott looked like the MVP. But really the story of the game is not the offense, because we knew they were good. The story of the game is this defense. that looked a lot better than it has the first few weeks of the year. Now, I don't know if it's Keenan Williams. I don't know if it's Ravel who came back. You know, they got Overshown back. They got a lot of defensive help back. And it really showed up and showed out on Monday Night Football. And this felt like an old school Cowboy beatdown. I'm like, oh my God, have they turned this corner? They probably haven't. But for one night, it looked good.
It did. I can definitely agree with that. I can agree that Dak Prescott, great bounce back game for Dak Prescott. 4 touchdown passes. Looked impressive. Like you said, it looked like that guy from the first month of the season that was just wheeling and dealing. And and like you said, their defense was definitely impressive. It's good. I'm interested to see if they can keep that up and continue forward. But only time will tell. What's going on, Ludwig? Thanks for popping in, man. Appreciate you. And Daniel, always a pleasure, my friends. But just going forward, this Dallas Cowboys team still has a little bit of life if they can get things going, man, and they can continue at what we saw on Monday night. They definitely have an opportunity, still have an opportunity here. A lot of football left to be played.
You're right. There is a lot of football left. I don't know if this is going to ignite them, but I will tell you this. If they happen to get on a little run, I mean, they're not going to be the pushover on defense that we thought they were. I don't know exactly what it means for them, but they're not going to be the pushover anymore. You saw what Queen Williams can do with Kenny Clark now there. Those two guys are going to be a formidable tandem. And if the Cowboys are smart, you draft another edge rusher. Uzuriki is coming into his own as well. That kid Houston is starting to play well. They got Kenneth Murray, Logan Wilson. I mean, they've really got now stars on this defense that it only takes one game to get your confidence up. Sure, you beat up on the Vegas Raiders who can't get out of their own way, but that's not your problem. If you're a Cowboy, that's not your problem. You went out there and you dominated the game. You looked good doing it. You had fun. Right now, the true test comes the next few weeks as they have a pretty tough little road ahead, and then they'll kind of come down in the last 4 weeks of the year. But I don't know, man. I don't know if
they got an important one up. This one,
yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how this defense fares against the better offense. But for a week, they earned their money's worth.
They absolutely did, and I mean, it was just impressive. Like I said, I was impressed watching this football game, watching the way they perform. I mean, not that Vegas is some kind of all-world good team or anything. Obviously, they're a pretty bad football team, but still, they've got some legit weapons, and the Cowboys handled them pretty well overall. I mean, Brock Bowers had a solid game, but it still didn't. He didn't really make a big impact, so they were able to keep him under control. And I mean, just like I said, it's going to be a matter of what their defense can do, because like you said, their offensively, what they're capable of week to week, but defensively, it's just been where the question marks have been. And if they can play defense the way they did on Monday night, then they could be in a good position. Right now, one game out of 500, or kind of a half a game in a sense with that tie on the record. But like I said, there's a lot of football to be played, and they can play themselves back into this, and it's going to start this week. So we'll talk about that matchup a little bit later, but they got a big matchup this weekend, and if they can get a W, that'll go far. That'll go a long way in determining how the rest of their season could possibly go. But did you have any more thoughts with the Dallas Cowboys right now?
The last thing is what you want to see is like their offensive line held up pretty good. They're getting a lot of guys back, and we'll really see if Mike McCarthy was really the issue, or if Brian Schottenheimer can kind of get these guys over the top. I think he's done a good job with his team. They talk about head coaches and things like that. He's earning those stripes. I don't know if he's a head coach or not. That yet to be determined. I think it's good that he has Eberflus over there, and it paid dividends for Eberflus. He finally has a defense he can scheme up and get to the quarterback. So we'll see how these moves pan out. I like what they've done so far. As an outsider, not taking my giant hat off. If I'm a Cowboy fan, I like how they performed on Monday night because this could have easily been the Arizona Cardinals.
I agree, man. I agree, but I thought it was going to be, honestly, but they proved me wrong. They came out there and I was impressed, like you said, with their defense in particular because that's been the scrutinized unit all season, and they really showed me something, man. So take my hats off to them. But if you have any more thoughts on the Eagles, on the Cowboys, we can move on to the Eagles.
Oh, we can.
On Sunday night football, and you got your thoughts on we saw Sunday night against the Lions.
I saw a dominating defense. That's what I saw. I saw a team take it to arguably the best team in football last year. Right? There's a little debate here and there. But at the end of the day, it's they're good. They're fucking good. Jalen Phillips has been a difference maker. He's been there 2 weeks. 2 weeks, their defense looks different. And what did I tell you? I was telling an Eagle fan today, picking up my son. I said, I don't know what you guys do, but you guys make the best adjustments when you have off days. And they had that. They came out of the bye week, and they've come out absolutely swinging out the bye week. And to me, it's like this is next level type stuff. Now my Eagle fan friend, of course, he's complaining about, well, I don't know about the offense. I'm like, stop worrying about the offense, okay? Your offensive problems, you're 8-2, whatever you are. You're top of the league. Your defense is going to keep you in games. And that was let's not make any mistake about it. That was a dominating performance. Sure, you could say the Lions went for it a lot of times and that helped them. Well, guess who stopped them on the other end? It was the Eagles. So, it's amazing to watch. Jalen Phillips, like I said, has been a difference maker. Nakobe Dean has been a difference maker. They're starting to get all their pieces back and healthy. And let's not take it for granted. They also did this to the Green Bay Packers. Like, they beat up on the Packer team that has a phenomenal offense, right? And obviously their offense didn't do that much. They did enough to get over the hump to beat that game. But if you're going to be in December, late December and early January, you're going to need defense. And if your defense can carry them, which they look like they're lights out right now, the offense is only going to need to make a few plays here and a few plays there, right? And then that'll be it.
Yeah, look, I still got a bone to pick with this offense. You just got too much talent. You just got too much talent to only be scoring 16 points. You just do. I can't excuse that. I can't gloss over that. Like Detroit, they're good. They're decent defensively. They're not like juggernauts. To only be able to put up 16 points against that defense, to me, that's what Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. It's just too much. That's too much to only be scoring 16 points this week, 10 points the week before. And I don't want to hear about Green Bay's defense because Green Bay's same defense played against the sorry-ass New York Giants with backup players all over the place and gave up 20 points to the Giants offense. So, this offense still is an issue. Now, I hear every point you're making about this defense, valid. This defense has been absolutely lights out. Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis in the middle of that defense on Sunday night. they were the wreckers. They were the game wreckers. That was it. Up front, those two were the ones that they destroyed the game for the. They had Jared Goff shook. He had no idea what to do with himself, and that will get you a long way. But you're going to have a game where people are able to put some points up on this defense, and if offensively you're not able to get things done, I just don't know. That's my only reservation when I watch this Philadelphia Eagles football team is there still seems to be a disconnect when it comes to this offense. But the defense is absolutely lights out. I mean, it's starting to play like they're becoming like a special unit over there. So I do hear you everything with the defense, but I like to see this offense really start looking like what it should look like, if that makes any sense.
It makes sense. It makes sense, but I don't look at it I don't look at it the same way you do, right? I see they have struggles, and I understand why they might be having some struggles, right? But there are games where Jalen Hurts has thrown for 200-something, 300 yards, and they've moved the football. And at the end of the day, they're not putting the ball in harm's way. And I think what they've done, I think the element that you're missing from this team right now, what's up, Wales, is they're not running the ball in the same capacity with Jalen Hurts as they were before, right? And I think that's a lot that's changed. I think that the new coordinators come in. He's not the greatest, but he's not the worst coordinator. Like the guy they had in 2023 was horrible. I think I don't know. I keep forgetting his name. I think it was Desai or something like that, or Johnson, or one of those guys. He was absolutely horrible, atrocious. He couldn't do nothing. This guy's slightly better than him. Now, my question is, why aren't you running screen plays and getting Barkley the ball in the backfield and doing things like that, wheel routes? I don't know why it's going to happen, but we'll see how they adjust going forward. Every opponent is different, and what people need to realize is everybody's giving their best shot against the Eagles. I know that when we came back off the Super Bowl win, the next year everyone gave us our best shot. Now the Giants were blowing teams out. This team obviously was not doing that, but they're finding ways to win, and I think they can ride their defense in some of these games. They made a Lions team that I know obviously is struggling offensively, but they made a Lions team look pedestrian, and that team put up 44 points the week before. Okay, in Washington, they put up 44 points like it was a knife through butter. They come into this game and totally different story, and it says a lot about both teams. But again, these teams are giving them their best shot, and who knows? Maybe they're going to need to fire their offensive coordinator. But right now, they're still winning despite the offense's shortcomings. So we'll see how it affects them in the playoffs. I'm going to go out on the limb right here and say they're the best team in the conference. At least, I mean, that's easy to say.
I'll give them that. I'll give them that for sure.
They are the best team in the conference. You can argue with. I mean, my Eagle friend told me he thinks the Rams are the best in the conference. I said, well, guess what? You beat them. So
they beat the Rams.
They beat the Rams. He's like, well, it's a block field goal. I'm like, so it's a block field goal. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's just like how you lose a game, right? Do you think the Rams aren't saying, oh, block field? They lost. At the end of the day, you lost. And
exactly.
A win's a win. And to me, I hate when we get into semantics. Like, oh, well, we played hard. Great. No, this is the NFL. You play hard Pee-wee football. You win games here. Jobs are on the line here, okay? Championship teams find ways to win. Even when their offense, which is struggling, the other side of the ball and special teams lifts them up and carries them over the finish line. That's the mark of a champion.
I agree 1,000%. And that's why, even though I said everything I said, I agree with the fact that they're the best team in the conference until someone proves otherwise. And there's, like you said, ultimately they are still winning football games. I just like to see, when you look down a roster and you see the kind of names that they have on the offense, I just think there shouldn't be football games in 2 weeks in a row. They put up a combined 26 points. And granted, they were both victories and 2 victories, but it's just with offense like that, I just can't. I can't. I need to see more because it to me that's just what are we doing? I mean, you got guys. You have some of the best at their position, in the league, and it's just. Oh Lord have mercy! You lost me again.
I hear you. I hear you. Are you there? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I don't know if Matt can hear me, but I'm just going to comment like this. The Eagles do what the Eagles do every year. And we talked about this team early on, and Adoree Jackson's not playing. Adoree Jackson decided to show up for them. Can you believe that crap? Adoree Jackson is now playing. And I get what Mac is saying in terms of the offense. You never had the Rams with the greatest show on turf look like this. But I really do want to say that I think a lot of these teams are playing the Eagles a little differently because, one, they're putting 8, 9, 10 guys in the box. Two, their offensive line is completely different and maligned, right? Their guys were banged up all of a sudden last year. People don't realize how dominant the Eagles were last year. They aren't as dominant they are this year, which is one of those things, at least offensively, one of those things that'll kind of carry over later on. We'll find out, if Barkley can get going down the stretch with 6 games going in the season. But right now, again, to me, every time I watch the Eagles, I just come away with the fact that they are constantly winning. And the adjustments that are made are spectacular adjustments. I mean, just absolutely great thoughts and great things. I mean, we talked about last year. Last year, they went to the bye week against Tampa Bay. And everyone that I knew that was an Eagle fan, everyone that I knew that was, in and around that team were the fucking ship is sinking, the house is falling, it's burning down, get rid of everybody. They come out of that bye week and made their adjustments, and away they went on the march. And this team has won from jump out of the gate. They've had some blowouts against the Giants. They've had some heartbreakers and against Denver, right? They lose a game in double digits to the Giants. They win a game off a 2-block field goal. Like, you name it, they have won in that fashion. They have found a way in that fashion to have won the game. And it's pretty interesting to watch. You got to give kudos to Nick Sirianni because people hate that guy. And, I mean, I guess you could hate that guy, whatever. Doesn't really matter to me. But Nick Sirianni has done a great job with this team. And you got to give kudos to him. Mac, I think you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry. I don't know. These technical issues is driving me crazy lately, man.
You still held it down anyways while you were gone and fixing it, but now you're back. So I was just finishing up with the Eagles, just saying how winners win and they find a way to win. I went over the fact that they won a game on a blocked field goal. They won a game, with blowouts on offense. They won a game where their defense was dominant and had a couple turnovers in the game. Like, they win in many different ways. And that's the mark of a true champion. And I was just also mentioning that Nick Sirianni, who a lot of people hate, seems to push the right buttons for this team every week. And really, I don't know if he's a play caller. He was a play caller in Indianapolis, but he's an overall head coach. And he finds what he needs. He conveys that to his GM. They go out and they get those players, and the team is playing. And look at how they talk at the end of the game. Jalen Phillips said this is the best decision of his life coming to Philadelphia. This team is bought in. They're looking for, unfortunately, I hate to say this, back-to-back Super Bowls. And then if they do go, they'll be the new dynasty because they'll have gone, 3 out of the last 4 seasons, right? And not to mention in the last decade, they will have gone 4 times. Okay? That will be insane. Not to mention possibly winning it 3 out of the 4 times they've gone. 2017, 2022, 2024, and they're on their way now, right? That would be 4 Super Bowls in the last decade. Okay? This team is becoming what we didn't want it to be. A dominant team on the radar. If they win this Super Bowl, you're going to put Nick Sirianni in the Hall of Fame, and then you're going to start picking guys to the Hall of Fame because that's where they're going to go if they win a back-to-back championship.
Well, I don't really want to think about these guys being a dynasty, but at the end of the day, it is a real valid point, Adam, man. And
I don't want to think about it either.
Look, like I said, I'm just looking like this is just I'm just nitpicking when it comes to this football team. Like you said, at the end of the day, they win football games. They find ways to keep continuously win, regardless. Like that, and I almost sound a little hypocritical the way when I scrutinize this team a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's just because I wish the New York Giants had what they had. You know what I mean? And the fact that if we can score points with what we have, they should be scoring points with what they got. And I just feel like it's just 2 weeks in a row watching this offense operate in such a way. To me, look, I'm just grasping at something right here. At the end of the day, they're still winning football games, and that is what matters the most.
I'm just being nitpicky to be nitpicky. Right? Your hatred for the Eagles was so strong that no matter what they do, it is not going to be good enough for Mac to drive.
Look, I gotta find something. I mean, look, what else? I'm not gonna sit here and just completely completely slob over you. I gotta find something I feel like they're doing wrong. And I just feel like that's like the only thing I can think of is their offense is just not functioning like you would like to see it function. That's all. You know, I mean, you got a offensive player of the year from a season ago in Saquon Barkley. You got 2 all-world wide receivers. You got one of the top quarterbacks in the league. That's all.
They just keep winning. They just keep winning.
I'm never coming there, Tom. No matter what, I'll never be there, man. But I respect them, but I'm never going to be there.
Oh, God. I'm not going to the dark side, Tom. I'm a content creator. I have to give you an objective view, not a view of when we were in college. And, Tom and I have had our battles throughout the years. I've lost many of them betting on the Giants against the Eagles. So I've learned my lesson there.
Oh, no, I've been stopped doing that. When I just realized it was the trend from even when I was a child, man. The Eagles always had the Giants numbers, man. No matter what, the Eagles always had our number.
Yeah, I mean, we used to beat the Eagles with the Coy Detmer days, the Ty Detmer.
Oh, well, yeah, that was
mid 90s railroad teams. But once they got Donovan McNabb, that was it.
that was sandwiched in between the Randall Cunningham and that little Ty Detmer or Corey Detmer, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, that was sandwiched in between the Ty Detmer and between Randall Cunningham and Donovan McNabb, and those were those were terrible years. Mike Vick was torching us too for a couple years there. So
this how I'm not. I don't remember the Randall years. I respect Randall because of the history of the game, but I came in after he kind of, his shine went down. I came in when the Eagles had Rodney Peete as their quarterback. Okay. Rodney Peete was the quarterback of the Eagles back in the day.
I forgot about Rodney Peete.
Yeah. The Ty Detmer, then they went to Corey Detmer. They had Bobby Hoying at one point. Like these teams.
Went to an Eagles Giants game one year, and Bobby Hoying was the starting quarterback, and we kicked their ass.
Doug Peterson in the overtime game in '97 or '98 was an interception to Strahan, and he returns it. So they've, in the mid '90s, yes, we beat the Eagles. But ever since 2000, they've had our number. You too, No Mets. Happy Thanksgiving.
We're good, No Mets, man. Appreciate you, bro. Happy holidays to you too, man. But you want to finish talking about the Eagles? Any more to say about the Eagles, or we can talk about that game over in Spain in Barcelona on Sunday morning?
We can go to Barcelona.
All right, let's go to Barcelona real quick and talk about the Commanders and the Dolphins. This Commanders football team, man, I don't know what to say about them at this point. They're bad. They're real bad. I mean, they didn't get blown out this week at least. It took overtime, but that was against a bad Dolphins team that they were going against, and they still ended up finding a way to lose this one here late in the game. What's your thoughts on this Commander team, and do you see any way of them turning this thing around at least a little bit, to have at least a respectable season when it's all said and done?
I think they'll win a couple games. I don't think they offensively they showed me that they will be able to win something. Mariota's capable of doing that. Defensively, while they didn't look great, they look better than they have in recent years. Excuse me, recent weeks. But you lost to a god-darn Miami team, which you should have had on the ropes. And because of turnovers and, bad play and just overall, they're missing something. And I think even Frank Louvu looks lost. Like that guy was like missed tackles and was out of position. I don't know if the message is not being given to them or just the magic of Jaden Daniels not being there. They just seem defeated. And we'll find out this offseason what they do. They brought in a lot of money to fix the offensive line, between Jeremy Tunsil and a few of the other guys they signed on that line. They brought in Deebo Samuel, who actually looked like Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, he had a pretty good game Saturday morning.
They're definitely missing Terry McLaurin. Brian Robinson in the run game. They have no direction there because they don't. They actually had better production with Rodriguez in the game, and I think that's something they're going to have to lean on that guy a little bit more. I think he gave him a little bit more juice, a little bit more downhill running. And I do believe if they were in Washington, they would have probably beat Miami because they're overseas. Shit happens. Mariota wasn't terrible. He's obviously what he is now, a backup quarterback in this league, and he's going to be probably the quarterback for the remainder of the year, depending on if ever Jaden Daniels comes back. But I don't think at this point it's even worth him coming back. Just let him rest and heal up if he needs to. I mean, if he can come back and he's healthy and there's no damage that elbow, then yeah, you maybe want to come back in late in the season and play out a couple games and do what you got to do. I get it. But this team's in trouble, like you said. Dan Quinn is a guy, though, that I think will survive this. I don't think they're going to fire him after this season because of the injuries. And a lot of their free agency pickups have been, busts. So, Von Miller hasn't done much, and Bobby Wagner's looking old. Their defensive backs is, Trey Amos is a rookie. He's looking okay, looking like he's having some issues. And we need to start trusting our instincts more. Okay, preseason games are what they are. They're preseason games. Well, you could see a lot of stuff in those games that has carried over for many teams in the season, right? Cowboys, their prolific offense carried over into the regular season. The Commanders had trouble in the offense during the preseason, and during their practices, they were having trouble as well, and things weren't clicking for them the same way. Guess what? They haven't been that way ever since. Even when they won game one, we said when they won game one, they played their C game and still beat the Giants, right? This team is right now badly beat up, badly being outplayed, and it just looks like their depth and talent is really taking a hit. Because if you look at it, they got rid of Emmanuel Forbes. You know what Emmanuel Forbes is doing? Playing for one of the best defenses in the league right now. So, it really goes to show that sometimes you just got to take it with a grain of salt and don't shoot your shot too quickly, because I think that's what they did with, the Giants. They were like, oh, well, we're a Super Bowl team because we went to the NFC Championship game, and here we are.
Well, yeah, I just want to look at it. It's funny you said to John, because I just want to kind of compare this football team to. I mean, it kind of shows that a season ago, this team truly did overachieve, but Jaden Daniels, like that's the true ultimate X factor. I mean, granted, like you said, Terry McLaurin, it doesn't help not having your best wide receiver as well, but it's like this is a team that you look down their roster, it's not necessarily on paper one of the more talented rosters in the league. And I think this team is, when you have a leader like Jaden Daniels, when he's out there, he has a way of just being able to elevate this mediocre, subpar, less, subpar talent, as opposed to just similar to what the New York Giants are, like a team where obviously when the young quarterback's out there, that he's able to elevate, lackluster talent, and make them look even a little better than what these guys might even actually be. So I think they have a lot of that going on right now offensively. Like you said, Marcus Mariota didn't play terrible, but at the same time, nothing spectacular with these numbers either, and then the running game, it was better with Rodriguez. I agree. He definitely had a pretty solid performance, but it's still not where you really wanted to be. It's not what you got. The first few weeks of the season, this team came out and they were really running the ball effectively. And as this really has fallen off. And then, like I said, it's just, I think this is really all. When you talk about the Washington Commanders, it's all about number 5, man. And him not being out there is having a major ripple effect on this whole entire team on both sides of the football. Defensively, we already kind of expected them to not be very, very good defensive team anyway. But this is unworldly. They're bad. They're really, really bad. They can't seem to stop anybody from doing anything. I mean, teams can pretty much march up and down the field on this. And I feel like you said, if they were on Washington, they probably would have won. Or if they were playing a little bit better football team, they would have got destroyed again probably. So I don't know. This football team, they got a lot of problems. And I think this is going to be a very important offseason for the Washington Commanders, as I think that they need to really, really try to build this team up and get some better pieces around Jaden Daniels. I need to really build this offensive line up, because it's still, they have issues on that offensive line as well still, because obviously the injuries sustained to Jaden Daniels this season. I know it's not necessarily put him on the offensive line necessarily, but he needs to really they need to build that unit up front for their franchise quarterback, and they got to really get some dogs on defense. Their best guys are just what it is that their best guys are like you said, the Bobby Wagners, or he's just behind us. He's not in his doing it. He's beyond his best playing years. You know what I mean? He's a good leader on the field. Don't get it wrong, and he's still effective, but he's just not that same guy anymore. They need to really get some more beef on that defense, man. Some guys that can really get after it and be some difference makers, man. I think that's what it is. They don't have enough difference makers on this unit, man. Like I said, you got a good game out of Deebo Samuels. Finally, again, after we were actually talking about it last week about how he's really been ineffective. But he came out there and that he was kind of an X factor in the game, as a matter of fact. But I don't know. I just think this Washington team, I think that right now they're just hanging on by a prayer at this point, man. And I think they better hope they're able to get Jaden Daniels back just to be able to finish the season out a little stronger. Got a comment here.
I guess what's even funnier is that Dallas actually thinks they're back. Listen, I don't think Dallas thinks they're really back. I just think they're going to try to, play out the string and see where it lands you. But for Commanders, like you're mentioning, you just got to take it with what it is. Regroup next season, lick your wounds, and just keep adding talent. Now you're going to be you'll probably be in the high drafting, probably top 10. Could be top 5, but probably definitely top 10. Take a player on the side of the ball, like defense. Maybe you trade up for a guy. Maybe go get that guy, Reese from Ohio State, the linebacker. Who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? Like you said, maybe they want to bring back Jaden Daniels just to play out a couple games to get that feeling back, like some hope. Because what you don't want to do is you just don't want to be that miserable. I mean, we're talking about Marcus Mariota. He's come in and he's done exactly what you've asked a backup quarterback to do. And that's what we have to look at him as. And they do this, and if you don't have a defense like what the Eagles have, where you can carry a backup quarterback and the not elevating play. See, that's the thing about these teams that are winning. A lot of them have something that they can lean on if one side of the football is weaker. The Commanders don't have that. They have nothing to lean their head on. Like even the Cowboys. They know they know that the best kicker in football is Aubrey. They know that they can at least get, to the plus side of the 50, and have a chance to kick at least 3 points. But the Commanders have none of that. They have nothing where they can say, you know what, let's kick a 60-yard field goal. We're going to stop them on defense because of our blitz packages. They don't have that. And a lot of people have figured it out. That's what happens when you play. You get figured out. The guy, Joe Witt's not a great coordinator. Dan Quinn is going to take a little while. I think next year you'll see him implement his own defense. But we'll see.
I agree with no Mets here, man. They whether you like it or not, if they got a big game this weekend, and if they come up and they can come up on a winning and win this football game this weekend, they are right back in the thick of things. So,
and imagine that. Imagine if they win, right? Imagine if they do win. That'll be incredible because I'm not saying they're going to reel off any, victories, but I do believe I want to see how they fare, right? Let's see if because they remember the game from week 1, And so, we'll talk about it in a minute, but we'll talk about it. To land this plane, the Commanders don't have something they can lean on anymore. The run game's not great. Their quarterback is out, who used to be their rock, and their defense is not like when you think of the Washington Commanders defense, there's nothing that stands out besides that they're old and have lack of depth, right? There's nothing that goes, oh yeah, look who they have, a young up and coming player. They have nobody. Deron Payne hasn't been the same guy in a while. Like we said, Dedrick Wise has been injured. Von Miller's playing a shell of himself.
That's an interesting point as well, Rob. That's definitely an interesting point, man. He said the Eagles understand how to win high leverage games. The rest of these NFC teams are frauds. In the playoffs, they fold like a cheap suit. I mean, as of right now, I gotta agree with that comment to an extent. The Eagles, I mean, we'll see when the Eagles get to the postseason. It's like a whole different animal, man. So we will see, man.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about the Eagles and the championship pedigree that they have, and we'll see. We'll see if a team like the Rams gets home field, or if because if the Eagles get home field, they're representing the Super Bowl, just hands down, bar none. So every game for the Eagles is one step closer to, that number one seed.
Well, there is another team we can talk about in the NFC that I think they're about maybe one more win away from probably being somebody we need to really start looking at a little more seriously.
Carolina.
And that is the Chicago Bears. No, the Chicago Bears in the NFC North Division. Team is
I'm not worried about them.
This team is on a roll. This team is on a roll. I think they're a team that can bring that energy kind of similar to what we saw from Washington a season ago. And be that type of team that gets in and makes a little bit of noise, surprise some people, man. I think they just they're building confidence up each and every week. I'm just not making them out to be some super major threat, but they're a team that you might have to keep an eye on. They're like about a win away, I think. Right now they're sitting at the top of the NFC North Division right now, if I'm not mistaken, or at least tied for the top for the league in that division.
Everybody lost. I think that'll change this week, but everybody lost. You're right. See, the thing about the Bears is if they, and I know it's the NFC East show, but to your point is I'm just worried a little bit about their defense. Their offense is pretty good. Their defense is opportunistic, but if they can, their strategy needs to be score early and often to make the team go into passing mode, and then that'll allow your pass rush to kind of, make some disruptions and maybe tip the ball out. And obviously the Bears know how to turn the ball over with C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Brisker and a few other players back there. I think that's how they're going to win. I'm not necessarily giving them a threat yet. It's not that I don't disagree with you. They've quietly gone about their business. But let's see this week. If they win this week and they get 8 wins and they're really kind of in that mix, then we're going to have to start talking about, hey, maybe this team is a team that can make a run. You never know. You never know what could happen in the NFL. You just got to get there. They could be Washington this year.
That's what I mean. They're kind of giving me that energy from like Washington from a season ago. Well, I mean, their offense is Caleb Williams is playing with a lot of confidence right now. I mean, a lot of confidence, and he's making the plays. His kids definitely looking like that number one overall pick that he was. But like I said, I don't want to get too deep into Chicago because we can talk about them on premium takes and stuff like that. We don't need to talk about them. This is the NFC East roundup. Kind of went down a rabbit hole a little bit, but yeah, I just think they're one of those teams that we just need to look out for down the second back half of the season. But I could be wrong, and we'll find out in another week or two. We'll probably have a clearer picture for sure.
Oh, well, we're going to have a clearer picture in the next 3 weeks, next week and a half, because there's a lot of NFC North teams playing each other this next couple of weeks. And, by Thanksgiving, you'll have kind of an idea of the remaining 4 games left on what could transpire down the stretch.
Absolutely. So let's get to it. Let's get to what we do. We're at that segment now, folks. Talk about Sunday afternoon, 1:00 p.m. MetLife Stadium. New York Giants hosting the Green Bay Packers. Once again, MetLife Stadium looking like a home game for the road team, but this time, the Giants, came out with a little more fight, and they still came up on the short end of the stick because they are the New York Giants, and no team in this league knows how to lose football games like the New York Giants know how to lose football games. So, Adam, go ahead, man. Let's talk about it, bro.
Man, this team, I don't want to hear about moral victories. They looked okay. Sure, great. Good. They ran the football down. You know why they did that? Because they know they can't keep up with Green Bay, who, by the way, probably should have hung 40 on us. Okay? They probably should have hung 40 on us. But I digress. All right? I do like what, I guess, Kafka did and some of the things he did offensively. Defense is still the same. You changed the head coach, but you didn't change the problem on the defense. We were scoring points with Brian Daboll. The offense wasn't the issue. Hell, Brian, we had those Bears that you were talking about on the ropes. We had Denver on the ropes. We can go down the line. We beat the Eagles. We're one of the only two teams to beat the Eagles, okay? We have done things with Brian Daboll. So, to me, it's great that they're all well and good. You lost the football game. And you lost the football game on things that we know about. Jalen Hyatt and Jameis Winston. Jameis should have had 3 picks. There could have been 2 pick sixes in there the way he was throwing the rock. He lucked out. He lucked out that Green Bay is sleepwalking through their opponents. The Green Bay Packers played a C-plus game. They got the answers to the test right when it mattered most at the end of the test. Okay? But they could have dominated us. When they lost Josh Jacobs, they weren't running the ball the same way. They didn't have as many possessions because the Giants were marching the ball downfield incrementally and getting first downs and taking fourth downs and being aggressive. It only matters if you win. If you lose, it's just another one on the radar screen. And to me, the defense, we obviously know what the big story is this week, and that's Abdul Carter. I'll let you have your moment in the sun with him, but there's no accountability to this team. I don't want to see Mike Kafka as the head coach. I don't care what he does. He already, to me, losing this game is already, to me, donezo. You're already done. You're not. You would had to win out, and going this Sunday, I don't think you have a chance against this team coming up Sunday. So this was your shot. And again, Tyrone Tracy didn't have 100 yards. They just moved the chains. Jameis Winston wasn't great. He was average. The Dolphins did what they had to do, but where was Isaiah Hodgins? He was on the roster. And you cut him. For what? For Darius Slayton? And don't get me started with that little Wan'Dale Robinson, okay? Like, what is that?
I'm sorry. This is because this is what I'm talking about with this New York Giants team, though. Like, it's so opposite of what we saw a season ago, because this team a year ago was so on point. Defensive was like not the point on defensively, but they were so much better, cleaner defensively, and the offense couldn't do anything ever. And this season, this offense, even with Wan'Dale Robinson as your best wide receiver, is still able to score points against a Green Bay Packers defense, which is supposed to be a good defense, but yet this team, New York Giant team, full of backup players, who their best wide receiver is a guy that's probably no better than a number 3 on most teams. To me, it still says something about this Giants, about the Giants team, in the way something. I don't know what it is all the way, but like you said, definitely needs to be a change defensively, because that was the one thing that was absolutely the same in this football game. But I also feel like when it comes to Mike Kafka, he managed his football game better than what we've seen Brian Daboll throughout the year. I mean, he made some decent decisions. He made some gutsy calls. And for the most part, they were paying off. I mean, New York Giants won the time of possession in this game, I don't know, I feel like by over 10 minutes. And that's usually a recipe for victory. But once again, like I said, this defense came on the field with an opportunity to shut it down. And they once again failed at the task. Now, I hear everybody talking about Brian Burns and his 12 sacks or whatever it is he has, and that's all well and good. He's having a great season. But where are those plays when it matters the most? I feel like who was it about listening to Mike Francesca I was listening to, and he made me realize that, like, wait a minute, he's right. Brian Burns has what he said, but does he have any true like game defining plays, like when it really matters most, when you really need that big stop? And I don't mean to shit on him because he's like the only player on our defense consistently playing good. But it's just something to make you think like, well, he's kind of, it's a valid. Like you're not making these plays when we need that critical stop. Like where was that big sack on that 3rd and 10 where Jordan Love just sat back there, bought time until he finally was able to find somebody down the field on a play in which if you get off the field right there, the way that we were running the football offensively, most likely you're going to burn the clock down and win the football game. So to me, I take issue with this defense. The offense is what it is because we understand that offensively we just don't really got shit. But the fact of the matter is they go out there and scrap and fight. And it was one thing with Jackson Dart, but we saw that same effort offensively with Jameis Winston out there too. And you're right. He threw a couple of bad passes that could have been picked off, but that's football. It didn't happen. Other quarterbacks do the same thing too. So I'm not going to shit on them because the Packers didn't make the plays that were there for them to make. We do the same. I mean, all teams do the same thing. There's something where you just don't make the play. I mean, it just is what it is. The point of the period is, once again, this offense played a football game where they were good enough to win the football game, and the defense, as usual, let them down. And yet we're still here. Shane Bowen is still the coordinator. Everything is still the same. Nothing's changing. So that's why I expect to see nothing change the rest of this way. People in here no mess defending Wandale.
Okay. But, I get it. You guys like him. Wandale Robinson.
No, I like him. I don't like him as a number one receiver.
Exactly.
No.
That's what I mean. Like, to me, like Wandale Robinson, there's a million Wandale Robinsons across the league. I'm not worried about him. He doesn't just do it for me. There's limitations to his game. I'm sorry that there's a little cult following behind him, about him. But to me, like the guy over in Dallas, George Pickens, right, who's absolutely balling out right now, who would be a difference maker on this team right now if we had him. But we don't, because we want Wandale Robinson, who's not a difference maker, who doesn't do everything, who I can't stand these guys who do things when there's nobody, like against Dallas, when they have a sieve of a defense. I need you to produce now. I need you to produce like George Pickens is a second-round pick. So is Wandale Robinson. But who's having the better year? Who's making differences week in and week out? Wandale's doing his part, but he's not like doing as much as he should be. I mean, Hodgins outplayed him. Hodgins is not even on the team and outplayed him. Okay? So, and he's an undrafted rookie free agent that came from Buffalo. He wasn't even drafted. He was so well thought of, he wasn't even drafted. Comes in and outplays the starting receiver. And I'm looking forward to his rapport with Jackson Dart. And the next regime needs to keep that guy because all that guy does is make plays.
I mean, I hear you. Like, what the thing with Wandale is, I think what it is because he's being thrusted in a role on this football team that doesn't fit what he does. Like I said, I agree. Everything you're saying, like I agree. To me, he's a complete, absolute slot guy, maybe a third wide receiver, like I said, on most football teams. But if he's the kind of guy, though, if he just got two legit guys on the outside, he could be effective. And that's why I don't have that same level of I don't feel the same way about him quite as you do, because I think he does. He can bring a value to your football team. I think the New York Giants are just continuously using him the wrong way because it may be because of that second-round draft status that's why they keep continuously putting him out there, acting like as if he's something that he is not. And I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, he is limited in things that he can do. So I agree with you, everything you say there. But at the end of the day, right now, he's the best we got. And that's unfortunate. And the fact of the matter is he's still been pretty effective, man. He's been pretty effective when called upon. I mean, he's right now the most targeted receiver on the team for obvious reasons because, like I said, he's pretty much the best guy they got. Hodgins came out there and did make some noise, and that was all well and good. But and that's good to see a guy be able to come in and step in, and he's been here for the last couple of years, so it wasn't like he was bringing him in. He was somebody already familiar with the offense, and it's worked out. But I just think that, like I said, I feel like we understand the limitations of this offense as far as the talent on the offense, but to me, they're playing above the X's and O's. If you ask me, because of their limitations, just from a talent standpoint, and the fact that how effective they've been able to be throughout this season thus far, putting points on the board, like I said, functioning like a real NFL offense, something we haven't seen from the New York Giants offense in years. I mean, it's the results aren't what we want, but can we really blame the offense? The offense is going out there and putting points on the board legitimately week in and week out. It's the defense continuously letting this football team down, and that is the part that is bothering me, and that makes me want to talk about a young man on this defense right now that has not paid his dues yet, and yet I know he came out and said it was a misunderstanding, he wasn't actually sleeping. It shouldn't look like you are either. So even if it's a misunderstanding, you weren't actually sleeping, it shouldn't appear that you are either, young man. Abdul Carter, you're sitting on the season with a half a sack, bro. Number 3 overall pick, came in. People were labeling you, oh, he's going to be defensive rookie of the year. He's going to be this. He's going to be that. He's going to have double-digit sacks. Oh, he wants LT's number. He wants bro. Come on, man. You got to earn that kind of respect, man. You haven't done it yet. People are now throwing the one-trick pony word out at you, saying you only got one move, and that's pretty much what's limiting you. And it could be. You got to develop, man. But while you develop, you got to learn. You can't be sitting there. You're not at a status yet where you can be falling asleep in meetings and whatnot, man. You're not there yet. You ain't there yet, bro. You ain't at that point where you can just be falling asleep and through walkthroughs and meetings and all that craziness, man. That's not a good look. Especially when you're part of a 2-9 football team. You're on a bad football team. You're part of a terrible defense, and you feel like I'm gonna come. I can show up late to meetings or whatever. I can talk. I can lay down and fall asleep during walkthroughs and whatever. No, man, that's all, and it's a reflection of leadership on this football team. There is none anywhere. No accountability. There's no leadership through the coaching staff, through ownership. There's no leadership through players on the field. It's just bad. Where's the guy that grabbed Abdul Carter by the back of his neck and say, "Wake the fuck up"? Where's that guy on this team? It ain't like you're not putting up Lawrence Taylor-like numbers, bro. Lawrence Taylor could sleep through meetings. You know why? Because on Sunday, he was going to go out there and absolutely wreck the goddamn game. You are not him. You are not there yet, young man. You are part of a problem with this football team. And someone needs to step up and be a leader for this football team. And who is it going to be? Because I don't see that person on this roster right now. Got me drinking Mad Elf. Y'all got me drinking Mad Elf. It's not even Thanksgiving yet, and I'm drinking Mad Elf. What's wrong with y'all? I
saw that the other day. I thought of you. Listen, I think I agree with you on the lack of leadership. That's why Mike Kafka's got to go. It's a systemic problem from the previous regime, but obviously it was, frowned upon. But you want to send a message? Mention the entire game. That sends a message, not a series. Saying this won't be tolerated. You know what you're doing? You're just you're putting them in a 5-minute timeout. You want to really be mad? Take something away from them. You know how you get kids to, focus or come back? you take something that they want away from them, and it's one of those things where I just am over this team because it's not just this. It's also the Cam Scatterboo shit where you go to a wrestling match and you're involved in a wrestling match. In a wrestling match. Are you kidding me? The guy has one leg. His leg was turned the other way at one point. And you're involving him, and then the coach goes, yeah, we knew it was a physical match. So you knew and you let him out there. I don't care about people saying have fun. I don't mind that. Okay? I kind of mind it to a certain extreme because of optics. You know what I'm saying? When you're a team, when you're a sports team, you shouldn't be front and center. The Eagles, they went there, they paid on the Eagles waved, and that was it. They didn't get into fight. They didn't do any of that shit. You know what? They've earned that right to go to those things and sit front row and get involved with the show. Cam Scatterboo, you're injured. What is that telling you? And then Mike Kafka saying, well, I understood what was happening. Why did you let him go? Why are you even letting him say that? I'm not telling you have to be his dad because obviously he's injured. But to me, that's not a good look. And then what's worse of all this is the interactions on Twitter. Stop interacting with the fans. This is where we need to rein this in. I don't need Abdul Carter talking back to the reporters. I don't need Cam Scatterboo saying, you don't know me, I'm living my life, whatever, right? Like this engagement that we're doing here with a team that's 2-9 is not the engagement we did. Remember what I used to tell you guys about Evan Neal and talking about the fans and everything like that? This is the same shit. I'm not saying don't interact with your fans, but at some point, you got to pull these guys aside and say, don't worry about the media or the social media. And if you go out and you do something on wrestling, don't be involved in that shit. Wave, say hello, say hi, throw your hands up, whatever. But why are you being involved in a spot? Especially a guy that's fucking injured, who just broke his leg, who's on one leg. And his answer is like, oh, don't worry, man, the leg was hurt. No, you idiot. This is your football career. You want to go be a wrestler? They've got training down in Florida. You can go join the wrestling team.
I agree. And let's talk about this Cam Scatterboo shit because no, Matt, you're saying you're not no big deal up here. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you why it's a big deal. Because you are a rookie running back in the NFL, part of a 2-9 football team. You just had a horrific injury barely a month ago, just had surgery. Ankle or leg was broken like 3 different locations of your leg in a boot. I don't care about you attending a wrestling show. It was at Madison Square Garden. That's fine. Go be there. Go stand up and say, hey, Cam Scatterboo here. I'm in the building. Hey, sit your ass back down and watch the show. There's no reason to take part in anything of physicality because you can't do your job on the field right now because you're injured. So why are you taking part of anything physical, whether it was just a push or not? It doesn't matter. All it takes is for a freak accident. You fall and then what? And then what? Where are we then? Because I don't want to hear about, oh, it's fake and scripted. Yes, it is. It's scripted. But the fake part, we got to pump our brakes on the fake part. Because even those professional guys get hurt doing what they do with this scripted thing. Ask Big E about the script. Ask Seth Rollins about the script. Ask guys like that. Big E's career is over. It's very much a scripted match. But guess what happened? He got a career-ending injury. It's scripted, but shit happens. All it takes is you to slip on a banana peel, slip on some water on the floor at the Garden. That's all it takes. That's all it would have took. Freak accident from something as simple little spot. It's not necessary.
And
it was Eagle players there at the show on Monday night. Did you see them participating in any pushing and shoving? No, they're just there to watch the show.
Exactly.
That's all you needed to be. Be a spectator. Where are the leaders to say to dial him in and say, look, yeah, go enjoy the show, man. I get it, man. You got free tickets. They gave you all free tickets. Go enjoy the show, but don't do anything stupid. That was stupid. You can't even do your own job right now. It was. That push, did you watch that shit? The way he pushed Dominic Mysterio and he got pushed back. I'm sorry. Anything could happen in that situation. And not to mention the scrum of guys that was around him. Somebody could have stepped on his goddamn foot.
You know what's funny?
It was ridiculous. And they keep blowing it off and being so nonchalant. You wouldn't be this nonchalant about it if he did actually get fucked up. Then we'd be saying how stupid it all. Then everybody would be saying how stupid it all was. But hindsight's 2020, and since he came out of it all right, then everybody's being all nonchalant about it. No, you shouldn't put yourself in that situation. I watch wrestling. I'm a wrestling fan, so I watch this shit. I watch these guys get fucked up doing some of the simplest spots. Liv Morgan is on the shelf right now. I know she's a female, but either way, she's a professional. She's on the shelf right now from what was basically a basic ass like body slam in a match. Yet it's been matches she's been in where she's been thrown in the walls and the cages and all kinds of shit and walked out perfectly fine. But in this one other match, a simple little body slam or whatever it was, put her on the show, and she's been on the show for months. Anything can happen. You don't take risks unnecessarily. It is, and for another thing, it's in season. That's another thing. It's one thing if it was off season and you're at the event and you're doing a little something for the fans. This is in season. Another reason not to be participating in that shit.
Right.
It's just, to me, it's the word you like to use, Adam, optics of it all. It was not a good look. It's not a good look.
Especially what you're going through, the turmoil of this team. Fired coach, all that stuff. And not to mention something that you didn't mention that I think needs to be portrayed. These guys they know how to take bumps. They know how to fall. They know how to protect themselves. Cam Scatterbo on one leg is not knowing how to protect himself if he were to fall in the wrestling ring stud. It's one thing you play football. I get it. I understand it. But it's another thing where, guys were behind him. Roy Robinson Jr. is a huge dude behind him. How do we know he doesn't get pushed? How do we know fans don't get excited for that and push a Roy Robinson Jr.? All right, I watched a documentary on the Travis Scott concert, right? And how people got packed in to a certain area and people got trampled and stepped on and injured because they didn't have a means to get out. And how do we know that somebody doesn't get excited and push up on those guys in the front row when they're not looking, right? You don't know how many idiots are out there who want to jump into the fracas and touch these athletes and everything like that. Optically, it doesn't look good. Optically, talking on Twitter, fighting with the fans about this is not good, right? I'm just saying. Name another team where their guys are fighting with the fan base. I mean, Bill Carter's fighting with the fan base and the media. Fucking, Scatterboo. The only guy doing something good is our quarterback who's wishing kids happy birthday and being a franchise guy. Like those are the thing is right now is. I know what people are saying. I know the mindset. Well, let them live their life. When you're in the middle of misery, these things are exacerbated because of what's going on in the building right now. Okay, the turmoil that is going on in the building right now. Like you mentioned, the Eagles go there, they give a little peace sign, and I don't see the Eagles for the rest of the night. I see the Giants twice. I see the Giants are there, and then I see Dominic Mysterio getting involved. And your coach knows about it. I'm sure that goes right up to Mara. Hey, John, by the way, you're starting running back with a broken leg, participate in the WWE event. I'm sure John Mara was happy about that. I'm just all I'm saying is that your decisions need to be a reflection of you and not an overall reflection of this team. Because right now this team is in turmoil. And guys doing this and going rogue, sleeping in meetings, going out to these concerts, being involved in dumb shit. And, let's be honest, Scatterboo, this is not the first time I saw Scatterboo fucking around on his leg. Okay? He's on videos and Twitter. It's not like he's being calm. He's being Scatterboo. He's like a chained little dog that barks at you from the tree because it's chained up. And all it really wants to do is run around the yard, right? And I get it. I understand that people are saying, well, they're injured. Mac has it right. During the off season, go to the wrestling show. Hell, fucking George Kittle's involved every off season with wrestling. Exactly. Every off season he's involved. He's not doing it during the week because what if Scatterboo punched that guy wrong and he hurt his finger, or Roy Robinson Harris, strained a muscle trying to fuck around with this fake fighting this choreographed fighting that they're not privy to, right? We all saw what happened with that one dude who punched the lights out of that one wrestler who put him damn near in a coma because he didn't know how to react, right? These guys don't know how to react to these things, and one false move could be detrimental. And being that you're an injured guy, you know what this reminds me of? Think about this. You tell your boss you're sick, right? You're sick. This is a true story that happened to me. I was sick. I told my boss at the Giants I was sick. He told me, this is the words that he told me. He's like, I'm not going to find you on Facebook or Twitter doing something else, right? You're going to go home and sleep. I said, yes, sir. That's what I'm going to do. And I didn't show up anywhere, regardless of if I was sick or not, which I was sick. Regardless if I was sick or not, his point to me was, I'm letting you go home knowing that you're sick to not go fuck around on me when I need you. Cam Scatterboo should not be doing this. That I understand going to the concert or going to the event, fine, but don't be involved in this. I don't need to see you. Hell, I don't need to see you at the event. A guy that's injured, I don't need to see you there. You should be at home rehabbing, chilling, out of the spotlight. You know, it was one thing when you were, you know, fully on your feet and you're jumping around the Knicks game doing all that. That's fine. I don't care about that. But when you're injured, it doesn't look good. It's like when you call out at sick and then you end up on the, you know, the news or something, or you show your boss the Facebook photos and he's like, wait, that was the day you were sick and you're at the amusement park. I thought you were sick. You know what I mean? That's how it looks. And to me, that's why I'm a little upset by it. I don't necessarily care that he can live his life, but optically, when this team is going through it, you don't need this.
And what is worth? It's a lot of blame to go around for this. And shame on WWE as well, because WWE asked Cam Scatterboo to do something they don't even ask their own employees to do.
Right.
When they got guys on the shelf, injured guy, like I said, Seth Rollins, he's mobile. He can walk around, but he just got his whatever knee or whatever surgically repaired, whatever he did, whatever had something with his leg or something that he got surgery on. He's up walking around, sure. But where do you not see him at? You don't see him down there at ringside or anything like that, participating in anything physical, because he's still rehabbing. So they don't even ask their own employees to work while they're injured, but they want to get you. They want, let's get this rookie, this young guy. He's stupid enough. He'll come out here and still do something anyway. And sure, that's what I mean. This is bull. It's all bullshit. And being nonchalant about it, you're only nonchalant because nothing did happen. Because ultimately he did walk away okay. And because you know he walked away okay, we're going to blow it off like no big deal. No, it's a big fucking deal, because George Kittle was a great example. He's a big fan of WWE wrestling, and you see him at a lot of wrestling events. During the offseason, you do see him even kind of mix it up a little bit, but it's during the off season. It's not while his team needs him and depends upon him. Now, I get it. Cam Scatterboo won't be playing another game for the Giants this year, but he's got more important things to do. More important things to do. Things his mind should be way focused on than being in a pushing contest with Dominic Mysterio. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I can't get jiggy with that.
No, Mets. I understand what you're saying. But if you're an employee or a boss of you think John Mara's happy that fucking Scatterboo's pushing Dominic Mysterio? You think he's happy? You know, I understand what he's doing, but you think he's happy? We're not. Listen, we're not having a crash hour. We're talking to you about the lack of leadership on this team, the lack of accountability on this team, the lack of awareness of what things look optically. When you are in a season to forget, everything is magnified. Like Max said, if he doesn't get injured, you don't care. I don't care if they're winning and doing this. I don't really care at that point either. I would still say don't push a guy, but you got to understand you're injured. You shouldn't be leading the party. You shouldn't be the one that's pushing you, right? Something John Mara does not want. Exactly. So your boss doesn't want to see it because he thinks you're rehabbing. He thinks you're going through the motions, but here you are physically pushing a guy. And what happens if you chip a bone or something goes wrong or your rehab gets fucked up? Like, this is what it doesn't matter if he let the leadership walk off the team, right? Obviously he's sick and it's trickling down the team, and the lack of accountability and the lack of awareness. That's the word I was looking for. Awareness, aware of surroundings and aware of what's going on. These guys don't care. I mean, Malik Neighbors has his own rules. That guy was dancing at a party when he needed to get knee surgery. Here he is dancing at a party. Okay? these guys, I want them to live their lives, but I also need them to know when there's paparazzis out there, when there's all this stuff out there, you need to be cognizant of what's going on and how it will look on a team that's floundering. Okay? Now your coach has to answer questions about it, and he knows that you went there. So how there's no accountability there? Like, I understand he went there. John Mara let it, like, that's why this guy needs to be fired, is Mike Kafka, because John Mara let you say, hey, he's going to be fine, coach. Like, I don't think that's a good look. And then the other thing that you are missing here, the bigger picture, is that these guys are interacting with people on Twitter, not just making a post and giving it a thumbs up. They're arguing with people on Twitter about sleeping in meetings, about not making a big deal. Let me live my life, bro. Like, don't engage with the fans. Rule number 1 in this sports establishment: you make sure you have people that aren't going to crash your image, and you don't interact with the fans in any way possible, because they're going to take it in different ways. And you could easily as you're liked in this town, especially in New York, you could easily be disliked real quick. Okay? They turn on you in a heartbeat in this town. So just be aware. And I know you go through that shit at the rookie symposiums. I know Pat Hanlon and all these guys, they give you a awareness about it. Listen, I don't give a fuck about new awareness, a new generation. I don't say you can't engage in social media. What I'm saying is, don't engage back with the fans. If you want to say, hey, the sky is blue or the sky is red or the earth is flat and people want to yell at you, okay, just make the statement and move on. Don't be like, well, man, blah, 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 blah. Like, no, because there are people that are going to be out there lurking, waiting for you to make that one slip up, that one false move everywhere.
One thing about that, while you're talking about that, Adam, real quick, when it comes to social media with these guys, these young guys especially, and it's new to them. It is somewhat new to them. Because you think you're a regular person. You're not still a regular person. You're polarized. People know who you are when they see you. You're not like me walking down the street, fucking Joe Schmo. Nobody knows who the fuck I am. You are Cam Scatterboo. You are Abdul Carter. People know you. You can't engage the same way like you're a regular person. You have to be mindful of that and understand the situation. You're not like some regular old guy walking down the street talking shit on social media. Anything you say is going to be magnified. I can say the same thing you said that they said, and nobody's going to give a shit because I'm just MacDaGiantsFan fan. Who cares? But when you guys do those kind of things, man, it's going to be always magnified. You're under a magnifying glass constantly. This is the New York media. It's going to get blown out of proportion. Anything you do, they're looking to make a story out of it.
Exactly. And then your teammates have to answer those questions, and you're not focusing on the Detroit Lions. You're focusing on, well, Cam Scatterboo went here. What do you think about that? Like, that's the type of shit we're getting right now. We need answers to the questions, but we're not getting them. And when you are a bad football team that just fired their head coach, that has their star player, one of their star players already being chastised about sleeping in fucking meetings. You're not Lawrence Taylor, kid. You're trying to be like him with sleeping in meetings, but you're not, right? It flew, but there's dysfunction all over the place. And these players are not bought in. They're even talking about the energy right now. Oh, the energy's up and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, who cares about that shit, right? Well, like, at the end of the day, and I'm going to land this plane, it's when you do something. It's like when you tell your parents, hey, I'm going to go out. And they tell you, all right, be careful, don't do certain things. And you're out there and you're pissing on the sidewalk and doing all this shit to get yourself in trouble. And you're like, oh, well, I didn't go to jail. Well, you could have. And you could have done this, right? And it's all about trying to eliminate the dumb decisions now so that going forward, you learn from this mistake. The one thing I will say about like a guy like Daniel Jones, you rarely saw him on social media, right? Even though he was out and about doing his things on concerts, people caught him there doing things, but he wasn't in the limelight like that. And you got to understand, when you're in New York, there's somebody always lurking for you, no matter what. They know your profile. They're sitting there and they know who you are. You're a marked man.
Look, we can agree, disagree about this. No Mets, man. Respect it. I love it. I always love that you're here every week, and I do love your opinion. I respect your opinions, man. But we're gonna be a hard disagree completely on opposite sides of this one, and it's not gonna change, man. Look, because what this argument you're saying is a dark, legitimate argument, but it's Cam Scatterbill is almost as popular amongst this on the football team right now as Dart is. So I mean, at the same time, what are you even trying to say there? He is a polarizing player on our football team. We can feel the way we want about it. He's probably only really a legitimate number 2 receiver. I mean, running back, whatever. He's our number 1 running back, regardless. Right now, as the things stand on this football team, he's our RB1.
Here's the last thing I'll say about this. Barkley, go watch his documentary. He puts himself in a position where he's not compromising his brand. He's not compromising what he's doing. He's not out there being stupid. He can still sign his jerseys and still be a good guy and still interact and have some interaction with fans. I'm not saying don't completely go radio silent, but there's a reason why guys like Barkley do it their way. Okay. They don't get it. Like Barkley was here 6 years. I saw him once at a bar with like Eli Manning or something. You know what I mean? Like I don't see him out there. Cam Scatterbill, to me, is instead of rehabbing or fixing or whatever, he's bored and he's out there and he's doing stuff and he's making a brand. And I get it, you want to have a brand and all that. But again, when you talk about the grand scheme of things, we could say, oh well, if it's Dart, I care about it. You have to hold everybody to the same accountability. If it's bad for Dart, it's bad for everybody else. You can't just say, well, Dart's the exception to the rule. No. That's the problem that this team has, is guys are held to different standards, even with the coaching staff, even with the fan base, right? Accountability matters. Optics matter. Things like this, when you're having a bad season, only pile on to the bad season.
I agree. Like Joe up here saying, man, what's going on too, bro? I appreciate you being here. But like you said, if it was a sprained ankle, whatever, but it's a career-ending injury, possibly. I mean, it was an injury that looked like, it's not a career-ending. Apparently, he's coming along pretty well, but it's an injury that when it happened on TV, I remember watching the TV, when it happened, they wouldn't even cut back and show it on the camera no more because that's how nasty it was. Like, this was a serious, serious injury he's rehabbing. So this ain't no little joke, man. This ain't a game. So this is your career. You gotta think what's truly. You gotta think about what's truly important to you at some point. And like I said, I'll go back to the leadership thing again. If this was a Tom Coughlin run football team, if we still had guys like Justin Tuck and Strahan as captains on this football team, and guys like that, you wouldn't have seen Cam Scatterbill participating in a pushing, shoving match at a Monday Night Raw wrestling show. You know why? Because those guys would have grabbed his ass up by the back of the neck and said, "What are you thinking, kid?"
Exactly. I just want to touch on this. Barkley was seen with Trump and got a bit of backlash. That's different than going out to an event and meeting somebody is different. I don't care if he gets backlash for some people not liking a political party, whatever. If you want to get mad about that, then that's you being mad, right? He can meet whoever he wants. It's not about that. It's about where have you seen Barkley compromise the team by doing something stupid? Never, because he even says it in his documentary. I don't do that. I don't put myself in a spot where I can be, a subject of this talk, right? What was it? I don't know what it was. It's with Donald Trump. I don't really care if he's not fighting with Donald Trump. Okay, you can say whatever it is because you don't like the president, that's fine, but it has nothing to do with that. I'm just saying, who cares about the backlash about it? We're talking, the backlash has nothing to do with it. The event that he goes to has nothing to do with that. Nobody cares about that. That has nothing to do with the optics of a team. When did this happen with the optics of a team? Who cares, right? Like, we got backlash for meeting a political leader. No, he didn't go to a wrestling event and put himself in harm's way. He's not out at the club dancing around doing stupid shit.
Yeah,
I don't care if you're a Trump supporter. Who cares about that? Who cares if he is? That has nothing to do with what you're talking about. You're just trying to compare it because you want to say, we got backlash for meeting somebody. It's not as big a deal as going to a WWE ring. It's not. I'm sorry. And pushing somebody around.
I mean, it's just the point. Look, obviously, we're not going to all agree on this. And you guys, everybody, look, I don't want to make it seem like you're not entitled to your opinion. I just don't. I feel like this is a 2-9 football team with a lot of problems. And that's just, once again, we're talking about all the wrong things. Because the fact that we're even spending time talking about this already tells you about how utterly stupid it all is. Like I said,
I don't know what Barkley did with Trump, so I don't really care. But you obviously care because you got backlash because of people having that has nothing to do with football and physicality. Who cares? I'm talking in circles. All right, no Mets, keep it moving. Let's go.
Let's move on to the previews. Let's get ready because we got to get ready to wrap things up soon. Let's talk about the Giants going out to Motown, taking on the Detroit Lions out there in the heart. And I feel like we're going to get what we've seen most of the season, the same similar type of football game from the Giants. And ultimately, I think we're going to lose, just like we do every other game. So, Adam, what you got, man?
What game?
The Detroit and Giants on Sunday.
I think it's going to be a bloodbath. I really do. If it's a bloodbath to me, I think they're going to be angry. I think they'll be really, beat down. I mean, Detroit has a great running game. Jamar Gibbs had 100 yards against the Eagles. I think he can easily eclipse that and more. So, but I don't think it's going to be that. I think the defense is going to be exposed again, and they're going to have I think this is the get-right game for the Lions. That's what I think.
See, here's what I think. I think we're going to lose, like I said, but I think it's going to be in similar fashion. I mean, I thought the same thing about Green Bay last week, was going to come out and be angry after that loss against the Eagles, and then come out and the same way. They were in Detroit. I know their offense is a little more explosive than Green Bay's, but at the same time, defensively, they're not as good a team defensively. It's also easier to move the ball on the Detroit Lions than it is the Packers as well. The Giants were successful moving the ball against against Green Bay. I think they'll have a lot of the same success against Detroit moving the football. The problem is I don't think they're going to be able to outscore the Detroit Lions in this football game. And I think that's where the difference is going to be. I think that the defense is going to once again let them down in most crucial of opportunities probably. And I think we're going to see a similar type of game. I mean, the Giants have literally only been flat out, got their ass handed to them pretty most part, like maybe twice this season. I mean, the Eagles, that second game, pretty much dominated the whole game. And I guess that you could say that first game of the season against Washington pretty much. Other than that, the Giants have been competitive in every single other game they played this season against the Chiefs, against the Cowboys, and against we saw against Green Bay a week ago, the Bears. I mean, they've been competitive in these football games. And I think that it's going to be kind of the same this week too, possibly, where they're going to be able to score points, whether it's Winston still at quarterback or if Dart can clear protocol, which he still has not done yet. But it's just a matter of that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down once again to this defense not being able to stop shit especially when it matters most. Because I mean, even against Green Bay, for the most part, they held up for the most part, and then when it mattered most, they couldn't get the job done. So to me, I think we're going to see that same similar thing, man. That's just what the Giants seem to be. They seem to be that team where it just does nothing else. The first three quarters almost don't matter. And once you get them to the fourth quarter, go ahead and feast on them. And that's what this Giants team has been, unfortunately. And I think that's we're going to see something similar. And I do hear you. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery is one of the better 1-2 punches in the league for sure. And the Giants don't stop the run very well. But Detroit is who they are. And they'll give you opportunities. And if it's going to be up to this defense if they want to try to step up and make some plays. I think the one matchup that really is concerning is I don't know, anybody matches up with Jameson Williams at all on this football team. I find that's going to be a mismatch all day long for the Detroit Lions, no matter who is trying to cover that guy. He is an explosive playmaker down the field, and he does truly worry me. But I'm not acting like Amon-Ra doesn't exist. I mean, I understand how great he is too, but I feel like we can at least kind of.
You're picking the Giants?
I'm picking the Lions. Absolutely, no. I'm picking Detroit. Come on, picking the Detroit Lions. I just think that it's going to be a similar type of game what we've seen from the Giants most of the season. Whereas they'll offensively compete, move the ball well, pretty somewhat efficiently. I think they need to really lean on the running game this week and keep Detroit's offense off the field. And if they can do that, they actually would have a chance if they can successfully do that. But I just don't see it. This defense just does not inspire me to believe that they can stop anything or stop anybody. So I got to go with Detroit, man.
I hear you. Oh, by the way, to get back to that little Barkley thing, it happened in April. Okay, he played golf, went on a trip with him, and he got some backlash on Twitter for it. It wasn't like he was at an event pushing and shoving somebody, so it's not the same thing. So, and it wasn't happening in season. So, yeah, I'm not talking in circles. Keep it rolling. But I expect them to ball control. I have no faith in this Giants defense. None. No faith. And that to me is why I can't pick them. I mean, I think it's going to be exciting to watch Jackson Dart. You know, he just got Jackson. Who cares if we got back? Never mind. I'm done with this. We're talking in circles, and I guess he doesn't see our point. But I want to see Jackson Dart against this defense. If he's cleared to play him. The offensive line doing pretty well. Let's see how they fare. I think there'll be a puncher's chance. I think they'll be like the Commanders where they'll score 20-something points. But let's,
Yeah, I mean.
I did Google it because I wanted to know what you were talking about. And it wasn't that big a deal. To you it was, I guess, but it wasn't that big a deal. And it's not even the same circumstance. But that's okay. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right, though.
Guys, let's move on from this. Let's move on from this shit. About anything about Donald Trump, Barkley. I care less about any of that right now on this show. Let's get to the big matchup for the NFC East this weekend. There's a big marquee matchup for the NFC East this weekend. And the Dallas Cowboys hosting the Philadelphia Eagles, both coming off of victories. Dallas Cowboys looked very impressive on Monday night. The Eagles defensively looked very impressive on Sunday night. This is a big-time matchup in the NFC East, and if the Dallas Cowboys can find a way to pull this one off, man, it can change the complexion of the division. So Adam, what's your thoughts on this game, man, on Sunday?
I don't know if it'll change the complexion of the division. I think that if the Eagles, lose, it'll just be more of their falling out of first place, more so than anything losing the division. So I think it's a big game for the Cowboys. They could get their season back on track and fight for a wild card. I don't think it changes the division much. Now if the Eagles lose back to back, I mean, what the Eagles are 8-2 now. They lose a game, they're going to be 8-3. The Cowboys would be 5-5. So then the Eagles would have to lose the next. I don't see that happening. So it's more of a big game. I see it's a division game, so anything can happen. But I don't think it's going to shape the division. And I think the Eagles are going to run away with it. Just like you thought I didn't like Jackson Dart because you know everything.
Well, I mean, when I look at this, the Eagles, you got Dallas this week, and then they got Chicago, which we don't know what can happen in that game.
I don't think that the Eagles will lose to Chicago.
Look, I can't count Chicago out right now. They're playing really good football, man, and they're getting it done, and they're finding ways to get it done as well. Lost to Chargers. You never know what to expect from that team.
Okay, and that could be it. But look at the Cowboys schedule. How are they gonna how many games are they able to catch up? Right?
I mean, you gotta look. Right now the Cowboys are sitting at what? They're one game, like a half a game under 500. They were at 5 losses, I think, 4-5 and 1. I think the Cowboys are, and the Eagles are sitting at 8-2. The Eagles lose this game. Cowboys win. Eagles are 8-3. Cowboys are what? Are 5-5 and 1.
Yes.
And yeah, sure, that's still some work. There's still a lot of work to do, but you're right in the thick of things. Eagles got Buffalo on the schedule still. They got a couple of losable games potentially. You know what I mean? Especially considering, like I said, offensively, this team is not looking as explosive as we would like to see them look. Now, granted, a lot can change week to week. To me, I'm not really trying to make a real argument here because the Eagles, to me, like I said earlier in the show, they're the best team until someone proves otherwise. But it's just looking at how this game could have that's not going to have a major impact, like you said. I mean, I think the Eagles are going to still win the division, obviously, and but it's just the Cowboys can play themselves back into being a legitimate potential wild card contender right now. And I think if they win this game, if they can win this football game, it'll be a long take them. It'll be what I'm trying to say. It'll be like putting them in a good position to possibly achieve that goal. With that being said, I don't think the Cowboys will win this football. I think the Eagles are going to slam the door on the Cowboys season. Drive that proverbial nail in the coffin for the Cowboys as well, man. I think the Eagles are going to take care of business down in Dallas. I keep saying it because I feel like I'm going to just keep saying it until it comes true. This is going to be the week where the Eagles offense wakes the fuck up and we get that explosion.
I mean, it's the
Dallas Cowboy defense.
I mean, maybe the Cowboys are catching them at the right time. The Eagles' offense sputtering. Maybe this is the game that they upset the Eagles, right? I mean, if the Eagles' offense can't – I'll put it this way. If the Eagles can't score points against the Cowboys, then I'd be worried.
Yeah, that'll be an observation. That's going to be something to look at in this football game for real. If, like you said, if they can't put up points against the Cowboys defense, if they had these same issues, and we're talking about another little maybe 14-point game for this Eagle offense against this Cowboy defense, that could be a problem for me. So that'll be something to keep an eye on in this football game. So who are you going with in this one?
I am going to go with Philadelphia because I don't think I think Cowboys defense was good. And I don't have as much reservation as you do with the Eagles offense. I just think teams are playing them better. I mean, we've seen it a lot. And yes, do they struggle? But the guys, they struggle, but yet some of the games when they've struggled, Jalen Hurts has put up like 300 yards or 400 yards. It's like, oh, well, I guess, they did something. So until told otherwise, I'm not really worried. I think you're going to see them cruise here. But we'll see if the Cowboys want to prove something on Sunday, they can sure as hell do that. Everybody will be watching too, that's for sure. But I'm going with the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking the Eagles here. The Commanders on a bye this week. This is their bye week, so no Commanders game this week. They certainly need a week off. Hopefully, they can get Jaden Daniels back on the other side of that bye week.
I don't think he's coming back. I just think there's no point in him coming back. Outside of maybe, let's say you wanted to come back against the Giants or something like that, a game that's not going to be that hard to get under his belt, you can bring him back if he's healthy. Like, I'm not saying shut him down for the year, but if you are worried about him at anything, like you're worried at all, just shut him down, right? Worst case scenario. But this is the NFL and gambling takes place all over the place, so they're probably going to put for those reasons.
I have my own reasons for not wanting that to happen. Obviously, I have a fantasy playoffs to think about, and I want Jaden Daniels on the field. And that's just what it is.
So you've proven my point. That there are fantasy people waiting for you, Jaden. Get back out there.
But they got some tough. Right, they got some tough games. I mean, they got Denver on the back end of the bye. Coming out the bye, they got Denver, Minnesota. That's two tough defenses back to back before that Giants game, and then they got 2 games with Philadelphia to close the season out. 2 games in less than same way the Giants played Philadelphia. 2 games in 3 weeks against the Eagles. So, Cowboys they end their season with 4 consecutive division games. The Washington Commanders do. Wow. Giants, Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles. Wow. Schedule makers did them no favors with that. I mean, I know the division is kind of weak. Giants, Cowboys, they're not necessarily super tough, but it's division games. So all bets are off in division matchups all the time, man. So let's see, man. Washington, they got a tough road ahead of them. They probably got the toughest schedule in the league the remaining way, as a matter of fact, looking at their schedule. Like it could be potentially the toughest schedule in the league the rest of the way. So good luck to them. But Adam, you got any final thoughts before we get ready to wrap up the show, man?
No, just let's hope the Giants keep it close so it's not too much of a bloodbath. Other than that, I'm looking forward to that Eagle-Cowboy game because I really want to see the new Cowboy defense against that Eagle offense, and if they really are struggling, or if they just played 2 solid defenses the last 2 weeks.
I mean, that's a possibility, but like I said, we watched this New York Giant team play against that same Green Bay defense, man. And I'm sorry, they had much different results than the Philadelphia Eagles did against that defense. And they're talking about a New York Giant team that did not have nearly the talent the Eagles offense had. I hear you on your points you make. Like you said, teams get fired up a little bit more to play the Eagles and stuff like that. A little more, but it just, I'm just, it's the only thing that concerns me about the Eagles is that. Other than that, this is a great football team still. And look, they're on their way potentially to another title run, man. So they look poised to defend that title. Unfortunately, I hate to say that. I think if Winston plays, they're gonna. Because I guess I was saying about the Detroit defenses. They up front, sure, they got some dogs up front. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson, the other guy, I can't remember his name right now, but he's pretty good too. Up front, they're legit. But that back end, you can throw all over the Detroit lines. You can pass all over the Detroit lines, and I think if you got Winston out there, he can take advantage of that with his, he likes to throw the ball down the field. He can take advantage of that. And if Jackson Dart's out there, he's just Jackson Dart. He's just good. And I think he can take advantage of that Detroit defense as well. And so it's like I said, I think this game comes down to the New York Giant defense if they're able to step up and make any kind of plays. And I don't think they're capable of it, to be honest. So that's the difference in this football game. It's going to be the difference in this football game for me. But, guys, it's been a great show. Appreciate y'all, man. Got a little hot up in here. Everybody, we all have got to respect each other's opinions, different opinions. We're not all here to agree on everything. But look, at the end of the day, it's good, healthy to get things out on the table and let you know how everything's feel, man, how you feel about certain things. And I definitely appreciate y'all being here for the show. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets. Ludwig is in the building earlier. So I a couple other guys been out here. I appreciate you guys, man, and just make sure y'all continue to tune in, man. We'll be back next Wednesday. We'll talk about it because it's the day before Thanksgiving, so you never know what we got going on. But we'll talk about it. So maybe we'll be back next Wednesday at something might be a different time. Me and Adam will put our heads together and figure it out.
We're all good, man.
All right, and we'll figure out our show time and we'll give you something next week for sure, man. Thank y'all for tuning in once again to another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. I am Mac the Giants fan. This is my guy, the super dope co-host, Adam Costas. And we'll see y'all next week talking about the NFC East once again, man. I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants Fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants Fan. That's MACDA Giants Fan.